Being 6 PM, I'll call the planning commission meeting to order. Will Clerk call the roll, please?
President Tom Weatherspoon.
Here.
Vice President Joe Kiriaki.
Here.
Trustee Nancy Pierce.
Here.
Jeff Hintz.
Here.
Amy May.
Here.
Michael Moore.
Here.
And Ron Bachardy is excused.
Not doing him by phone?
I'm sorry?
We may, if he's available.
He may call in.
He may call in. Okay, approval of the minutes from January 27th. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 27th.
Thank you, Nancy.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Minutes are carried. Okay, there are two opportunities for citizens to talk tonight. One is public comment, the other one is a public hearing. Under public comment, a citizen may approach the bench, give us your name and address, and talk about anything you want to talk about for 2 minutes. Under the public hearing, that is specifically for the action item, which is the Caledonia Parks plan approval. So if you want to talk about that item, which is item 5A, please wait until that part of the hearing, okay? All right, so if there's anybody public comment, if you'd like to, did you have some? We have a couple people who signed up, Melissa, Marissa, Schultz. Come on up. Welcome back, by the way. You're getting to be a regular. We like it.
I'll give it a try.
Okay.
Marissa Schultz, 5491 Short Road. And we have a easement on our property, on the south part of our property. It's basically a drainage area that goes underneath Short Road to the other side of Short Road, and eventually it goes to the Root River, and it goes all along the south side of our property. And about 2 years ago, my husband and I have been maintaining, they are trying to get all the branches out and everything. But about 2 years ago, a big willow tree got struck by lightning and blew up the transformer. And I believe it was the electric company that came out and cut down the willow tree. But they left all of the debris in the drainage ditch, and it's now made a lake, basically, on our side of Short Road. We did talk to Ryan several times. He did come out and look at it, and he has a copy of the easement. But like I said, it's been a couple of years now, and it's getting worse, as you can imagine, with all of the dead trees that have fallen into that ravine. And so we are concerned about the backup of water onto our property. So we'd like to have some help with that.
We'll see what we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Martha, let's stick.
Good evening, Martha Hudzik, 4502 Harvest Lane. I just want to thank the village board. I did thank Pete the other night, the planning commission, Pete's staff for cleaning up the property on Highway 31, which is just around the corner from me. So I know it took a lot of effort. I know I was reporting to the CDA at the time and saw all those reports. So thank you very much and keep up the good work.
Thank you. And our apologies that it took so long. Okay? Yeah. Get the course to move a little faster, we'd be all right. So thank you for saying that. Okay, we're moving on to 5A, a public hearing and possible action on items set for public hearings, park and open space plan review. Review and make recommendations to the proposed update to the park and open space plan for the Village of Caledonia 2050. It's the purpose to help guide in future development, prevention, and enhancement of parks, trails, and recreational spaces within the village, submitted by the Village of Caledonia applicant. Mr. Wagner, did you want to open the door on this one?
Yes, and then, or you can open up the public hearing. I can give a brief description and then go forward.
Why don't you do that? Why don't you do a brief description, we'll do a public hearing, and then we can go back to
Okay.
you with questions.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, the packet, the report that was in your packet included a preliminary draft of the Park and Open Space Plan for the Village of Caledonia with the timeline of 2050. This is a plan that has been updated. The first one was back in 1989, and this is the 4th edition of the plan. In 2024, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee was the advisory committee to review the update to this plan. And throughout 2024, that is what they were tasked to do, and that's what they have done. At their February meeting, they did recommend to the village board that the park and open space plan be approved as presented. Just to keep in mind, this is a recommending plan for the village board to use when considering park development or open land acquisition and development as we move forward in time when things change within the village. One of the things we'll have is I'll have a representative, Brian Walters from SewerPack, to present, give you an overview of the plan. I just want to give you a little bit of update on the fact that in 2024, we did have an online survey to gather public input regarding the public park system and open space. We had over 500 individual responses. The ways we did reach out was on our Facebook page, on our webpage, as well as QR codes that were posted throughout our park system. And so that was the way we engaged the public in this particular update to the park and open space plan. The plan does consist of 5 chapters and has appendices detailing a lot of the inventory that is within the park system. And I don't want to take too much away from Brian's presentation, but I just do want to let you know that it is 5 chapters. It's 188 pages. The bulk, the meat and potatoes of this plan is the last 36 pages, chapter 5, which is actually the park plan recommendations. The first 4 chapters are telling you what we've done, what we've accomplished in the last 5 years, 7 years actually, since the last update to the plan. We updated the inventory and demographics so they accurately reflect what the Village of Caledonia is today and not what it was in 2018. So, it's a thick document. There was a lot of pages, but the bulk of the plan is in recommendations are in chapter 5. And so tonight before the Plan Commission is to answer, to review this proposed plan and have any questions of staff or our consultant who put together this plan. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Brian so he can present the overall content of the plan.
All right, thank you, Pete. Good evening, everybody, commissioners. I'm pleased to be here again to share the update on the Park and Open Space Plan. Momentarily here, we should have a presentation on the screens.
For the sake of the audience, would you give your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Brian Walter. I work for the Southeastern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. My address is 1522 Alice Street, Wauwatosa. All right, so the purpose of park and open space planning, there are a few purposes of why we begin on this process. First thing that we want to do is assess the current and future needs for the village, specifically park sites, recreational facilities, and open spaces within the village. Park and open space planning is also intended to help guide the preservation, acquisition, and development of land for parks, recreation, and open space. And the goal is really to provide a system of variety of recreational sites and facilities for residents and visitors to the village. We also aim to enhance natural resources, so there is an open space preservation section in the plan, which does have updated inventory. And as Pete mentioned, this is the 4th edition of the village plan. So it has been an iterative process. A lot of things have carried over from prior editions and have been reevaluated as part of this plan update. So as we got into this particular plan about 1 year ago here today, we had a few specific goals and objectives of what we wanted to achieve. The goal really with this is that it is not, a specific prescriptive plan of we are planning on doing exactly this right now. It's really a policy document to set direction and create vision, to provide guidance when decisions that are related to parks and open space come forward. It serves as a strategic guide for designing, developing, and managing a system of parks within the village. And we wanted to identify both the short-range priorities as well as the long-term needs for the Village of Caledonia. With that said, the design year of this plan is 2050, and an important purpose of these plans is that they do maintain eligibility for state and federal grant funding through the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. In order to be eligible for most of the grant funding that is available, a community needs to have a park and open space plan that was adopted within the last 5 years, which the prior plan edition is now outside of that. So as Pete mentioned, the plan format, there are 5 chapters. There's a short introduction, a summary of the inventory findings and updates, and I'll provide a little bit of an overview of what's in each of these chapters here tonight. There's a chapter detailing the status of the prior plan recommendations, a chapter on the planning framework, which is just what was considered as part of the development of the plan, and then the actual park and open space plan, that final chapter that kind of goes through the recommendations of where we've gotten to from there. And there are 4 appendices, including the regional goals, objectives, and standards, which the commission uses, the Regional Planning Commission uses with all of our park plans to provide guidance. There are peer community benchmark metrics looking at how the village compares currently against other communities that were of a similar characteristics. There are recommendations from the Root River Watershed Restoration Plan, and then there is a summary of all of the survey results. So as we went into the planning process here, first step was to update the inventory and the projections. So inventory is going to be kind of the current demographics, park sites, recreational facilities, and then the projections are things like population, potential future land use based off of the comprehensive plan that the village has adopted. We also wanted to identify who our key partners were that we want to recognize in the plan. Privately, there are a number of recreational facilities within the village that we do want to recognize. In particular, the Caledonia Conservancy has many properties throughout the village, which are important. And public partners, including Racine County, the school district, and the state of Wisconsin. We also did do a public input survey, which was created and administered by the village staff. That was online from April through September. And as Pete mentioned, we did receive over 500 unique responses from park users, which we looked at as part of this process. We did develop the plan with the guidance of the Village Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. So we've been going through throughout the last year as each chapter has been completed. That committee did review each individual plan chapter, provide feedback, comments, any requested changes. They also helped to identify the status of recommendations, what are short-term and long-term priorities, and on February 11th, they did unanimously recommend approval. Last week on the 19th, we also did have a public open house here in this room. We had many members of the public who did come in that day, share some comments and feedback on the plan. We've incorporated those comments into the current draft that you all have on the plan. So looking at the inventory, a few key things to take away from the inventory. Based on the projections, which are in Caledonia's currently adopted comprehensive plan, the village is projected to increase in population by nearly 33% by 2050. That's important because it does mean that there needs to be careful planning ahead in order to be ready to meet that potential growth. The village does currently have 67 park and open space sites. This includes 27 publicly owned sites, and 40 privately owned sites. There are 4 miles of public off-street multi-use trails and numerous privately owned trails, primarily the Caledonia Conservancy, but other entities as well within the village. There are 34 miles of identified on-street bike routes within the village, and 13% of the village is within what the Regional Planning Commission refers to as an environmental corridor. So basically, these are areas that are connected and resemble largely sort of an untouched landscape of what it would have been prior to settlement. Within the village, there are also 14 natural areas and 14 critical species habitat sites. So looking at the prior plan, a few things have been done since the 2018 plan. Obviously, the Crawford Park Master Plan has since been adopted. There's been an expansion and upgrades are underway there. There have been improvements made at Gorney, Linwood, and Maple Parks, and the village has also recently acquired Water's Edge Park, which is on the eastern part of the village. Remaining objectives from the previous plan did recommend over the life of that plan the acquisition of new park sites. Most of those have not been acquired at this point. It also recommended specific developments at 5.5 Mile, Shopla, and County Line Parks, which has not been completed. Expansion and improvements at the Nicholson Wildlife Refuge, and a expanded network of off-street trails and on-street bikeways. So we got into this plan, a few pieces were considered specifically. We did look at village, county, and regional plans, specifically the Racine County Multi-Jurisdictional Comp Plan, which, as you know, is the currently adopted comprehensive plan for the village of Caledonia. We did look at the Root River Watershed Restoration Plan. There are 12 miles of Root River within the village, so there were many recommendations in that plan which are relevant. Regional Natural Areas Plan, which is being updated right now, so we were able to get updated inventory information from there. And we did look at the county and regional park and open space plans as well. So for the needs analysis, we tried to do a hybrid approach on this one in order to make a more accurate reflection of what the village may need. We looked at the regional standards, as we do with all park and open space plans. Biggest opportunities identified based on the regional standards for recreational facilities would be basketball hoops and tennis and pickleball courts. And there are additional parks and facilities needed west of State Highway 32, as there are large portions of that area of the village that are pretty far from a park currently. We also looked at performance benchmarks. So performance benchmarks come from the National Recreation and Park Association. This is just a way of looking at what does the village currently provide relative to other communities that have similar characteristics. This doesn't really let you predict what future needs will be. It's just kind of a snapshot right now of how it compares. In general, we found that Caledonia is fairly comparable to most peer communities in terms of its provision of facilities, with the exception being playgrounds right now. As I said, this doesn't measure the quality of the facilities. It doesn't predict the future needs. It's just kind of a snapshot. And what we looked at for that was actually going to be communities in sort of the Great Lakes region with a similar population and a similar number of parks as our peer group. As we get into, get the next slide, please. There we go. The Village Parks Survey. We did receive 534 unique responses to the survey. Based off of the survey results, the highest priorities that were identified were more features and amenities within existing parks, better maintenance of facilities within the existing parks, and a connected trail network. The top activities that users reported that they enjoy at parks are walking or jogging, enjoying nature, and particularly for younger respondents, playground-related activities. 85% of survey respondents did identify preserving natural areas as important or very important, which I think is a significant finding from that. Another thing that was important that we noted was only 13% of respondents said that the village's bicycle and pedestrian facilities were currently high or very high in quality. So that represents an opportunity that we tried to focus on in this plan as well. The most desired amenities that people identified in the survey were playgrounds, splash pads, pickleball courts, trails, and beer gardens within parks, really types of social spaces where people can interact. So that gets us into chapter 5, which is the Park and Open Space Plan. So this chapter starts by looking at some area-wide recommendations. Specifically, we look at recommendations for the Racine County Park System. Their recommendations are to maintain the existing parks and facilities that they do have within the village, to develop a master plan for Franksville Memorial Park. We did see in the survey results, as well as just looking, there are a lot of people who are saying there's some maintenance needs and some other things that are going on there. And we also do recommend that the county acquire additional open space preservation land along the Root River, which has been identified in their plans as well as a priority. Bicycle and pedestrian facilities, we look at the village as kind of part of a broader area-wide network. Specifically, we do recommend the development of a trail in the Root River corridor, which again has been identified in the county plans, maintenance of the MRK trail, and improving the on-street facilities. So as I mentioned earlier, there are quite a few miles of signed and identified bike routes within the county, or within the village, excuse me, but the quality of the facilities that are on those varies substantially. In some cases, it's little more than a paved shoulder. It's simply been identified as that. So we do recommend improvement of those. Area-wide recommendations also include recommendations for developing a water trail on the Root River, particularly with the Horlick Dam coming down this year. That creates a new opportunity for recreational canoe, kayak access on the river, and additional access points on the Lake Michigan State Trail. Looking into the village recommendations are broken down into a 5-year plan, which was developed with advisory committee input and survey results, as well as a longer range plan. Within the 2025 to 2030 timeframe, there are a few projects that are included. Specifically, that plan looks at preservation of natural areas and development of trails at 5.5 Mile, County Line, and Water's Edge parks, the installation of trails, benches, and picnic tables at Shopla Park, updating playground equipment at Linwood and Maple parks, improving soccer fields and restoring prairie areas at Gorney Park, repairing and extending the boardwalk at Nicholson Wildlife Refuge, and continuing implementation of the Crawford Park Master Plan. This plan does not include cost estimates for these projects, so the plan intends that those would be completed as part of the CIP process. As a particular project comes up, that village staff would conduct a cost analysis to determine the feasibility of doing that project. Looking at the long-range recommendations, we do recommend a number of improvements to trails and bicycle facilities. In particular, one thing that we heard in the survey, as well as can identify as a need, is that there's currently a gap in the off-street trail on the MRK Trail between 6 Mile and 7 Mile roads. That is something that came up frequently as sort of a pain point among users. So we do recommend a couple of different options to fill that gap with an off-street trail. We do recommend creating a connection between that trail and the Oakleaf Trail system in Milwaukee County. Currently, they're about a mile apart at the county line there. And there's a couple of options that are provided for that as well. And then generally just enhancements to the on-street bicycle and pedestrian network. As mentioned above, we recommend the village participate in development of water trails within the village. The plan also identifies general locations, not specific sites, for 11 additional park sites in underserved areas. The way that is determined is basically by looking at the village's adopted land use plan map. If all of the areas that are currently identified by the village's adopted map were to be developed as residential, those would be the areas where additional parks would be needed in order to adequately serve those residents. So that's sort of a flexible time frame on that one, because that could happen as development is occurring or simply as opportunities arise within those areas. There are also recommendations for preserving open spaces. Again, many village residents told us that that was a high priority for them, and it is something that the village has historically done very well at. And another thing that did come up in both the survey and looking at the peer benchmarks was to consider opportunities for recreational programming in the parks. It was also something that we did hear in some of the comments at the open house last week, so there is definitely a public interest in that. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Pete.
This is our overview of the Park and Open Space Plan. I would turn over to the chair to open up the public hearing to gather any input that the public may have regarding this proposed plan.
Very
Mr.
good.
President.
Thank you, Pete, and thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to the public hearing. We have some people that already signed up for it, but if you'd like to speak on this subject, you, again, approach the microphone, name and address. We'll give you up to 3 minutes to talk about this subject. Please don't try to repeat each other. If we heard it once, twice, it doesn't make it better. So we'll do that. Starts out with Martha again.
Martha Hudzik, 4502 Harvest Lane. I attended the open house last Wednesday, and I'm still reading and evaluating this. I have lived in Caledonia since 1972, the year when the county adopted the zoning ordinance. Prior to that, a developer named Abner Rosenfeld developed the Crestview area. That was prior to the zoning, and it was a very dense area. So I was on the Planning Commission in the 70s and remember the number of subdivisions that went through during that time. And Caledonia was known as a place where there was open space and larger lots. And that was the reason that many people came in those days and still come here. So I'm glad you're looking at that to move forward. I have encouraged the people on the Planning Commission to carefully assess this plan and be sure it truly preserves open space for the people who live here and will move here in the future. I asked that you table this because I am still reading it and trying to fill out the form that we're supposed to do, and I guess it's even due tonight. So I know you're citizens and you're busy, so if you're not sure what it all entails, because I know from doing zoning issues through the years that, I remember in Arnie's office, it was the jurisdictional plan and the open space plan and the other plan and big binders, and you had to refer to those, and you still refer to those in making your decisions as representing citizens. So just want you to be careful, and if you need to table it, then table it and discuss it later. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Marissa?
Hello again.
Hello again.
Marissa Schultz, 5491 Short Road. I have a couple of questions and then I have a comment. So my first question is on the survey itself, and that is how does that survey broken up correlate to the Village of Caledonia population, both in percentage of age groups as well as locations? So I'm just wondering, those recommendations that those people wanted, were most of those people east of 32, west of 32? How does that correlate? So that I didn't see that in the plan. Just wondering if it's representative of all of Caledonia. And then the other question, or actually comment that I have is, I noticed on your table 2.3, I think it's on page 41, you do mention the Caledonia Conservancy land ownership and trails. And having been on the Conservancy board for many years, I think it's great that you're recognizing all of the hard work that went into acquiring all those lands, getting the paperwork and getting landowners to agree to conservation easements. It's still ongoing, and I noticed that you've encouraged the Caledonia Conservancy in this plan to continue to do that, which is excellent. But one thing that I saw that was a little bit lacking was there's absolutely no mention of what happens on those trails and that property. Some of them are walking trails, but there is a extremely large population of people who do horseback riding on those trails, and they maintain those trails as volunteers. So I guess I'm just kind of wondering why that isn't mentioned in any of the recreational plans. I know it's a little abnormal. Most villages probably don't have a community of horseback riders, but I can tell you that there's an awful lot of money that goes into maintaining horse properties. There are subsequent businesses such as hay farmers, farriers, and all of the support groups, veterinarian support groups that come to Caledonia and are amazed at the trail system and the community that we have here of horse people, whether they actually ride or whether they just take care of horses. So I'm just wondering why that isn't something that the village would not just encourage in terms of land use, but also in terms of promoting that to people who might want to move to Caledonia, because it is here and it is a unique recreational activity. Thank you.
Thank you. Maureen Wolf? Welcome.
Hi, my name is Maureen Wolf. I live on 7617 Mickna Road. And I don't believe that we've had enough time actually I'm actually formally requesting that the Caledonia Park and Open Space Plan be deferred from tonight's Planning Commission agenda, because the owners of some of these properties we really don't understand, like your maps and how you plan on acquiring these properties that actually people own right now. What is your plan on that?
We're not acquiring any property on the plan.
It's just, you just made up these maps?
They're the same maps from 2009
Right.
to 2018.
Yeah. So it's like a wish list type of thing? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm saying those are the same plans that have been out there for years.
Right, right. So it's still the wish list thing for your property that you want to acquire for open land and that in parks. I think with some of the parks right now, I think there's a problem with maintaining them as it is. You have a lot of properties and that too that need supervision in that. And now you're going into this other open concept, you want more. It's like, I don't think, you're doing enough right now with, maintaining the parks as it is. How are we going to go forward with that?
I'll have Pete address that when we go back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Charles Mickna. Welcome, Charles.
Charles McNaugh, 4326 7 Mile Road, Racine, Wisconsin, Caledonia, Wisconsin, 53402. I got two recommendations. One is I noticed, I was on the computer and I was looking where your bicycle trail makes the connection, where the wish list makes the connection between 6 Mile and 7 Mile. That was one of the things. I thought we would have a map, and they have it drawn on the east side of the railroad tracks, because the problem there is because We Energies backs in on 7 Mile Road, so it's never open. You can't cross it, and you can't build a bridge high enough to get over it. So one of the things he may want to do is redraw where you want to put that bike trail to make the connection between 6 Mile and 7 Mile. Because on 6 Mile, you have an underpass. So you could go underneath, and then right on the other side, if they could acquire property along the west side of the tracks, and it would take you right to the bike trail on 7 Mile Road. It would be a much easier fix than trying to take it from the east side of the railroad tracks. That's one of my recommendations. The other one is we should be really looking at trying to maybe get some federal assistance to prevent Cliffside Park from sliding into the lake. I see, we did get assistance, and they put ponds in there. I'm sure you're all aware of that, to help the top water from flowing in. But we should really be looking at trying to stop it, make some breaks down there to keep it from sliding. We're losing quite a bit of land every year, and a lot of that has to do with the outrigging of We Energies property, what comes around and it eats that lake bank. If we could come up with some sort of an idea, or get, Army Corps of Engineers in there to do something, we kind of need to sort of fix some of the problems I think we have now before we, go and acquire properties on our wish list. So.
All right, Charles. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, anybody else like to address us? Trustee Martin, would you like to address us? I figure you're here for a reason. Sorry, we know who you are, Fran. It's okay.
Mainly Fran Martin, 5635 Mile Road, Caledonia, Wisconsin, 53402. I'm so happy to say Caledonia
Yeah.
each time. I've corrected all my mailing to say Caledonia, not
Good for
Racine.
you.
So really, I'm here to ask you to defer it. I found out about this by accident when I looked on the village website I wrote down the date, on the 16th, because I was checking to be sure that voting day was actually on the 17th. I happened to see it. I had no notice of it. I called Pete, and he told me that it was posted in the newspaper 30 days ahead. Now, I'm on the board, so obviously it was known, but the board wasn't told about that. So I have a problem with that. I don't read the tiny little print in the newspaper. I don't think most people do, and I certainly don't think that that's a way to notice things like this. So to have the notice come out, as far as I know, on the 16th, I don't know when it got put there. I happened to accidentally see it there because there weren't any meetings noticed. I just was looking for the voting date. So the first time I saw it was on the 16th. I put it out in social media, in our local social media, so that people would know about it. Because if I only accidentally saw it, who else would possibly just look on the village website? You wouldn't do that on a daily basis. That's the only notice there was of it, on the 16th. And that was a notice for the night, that was a Sunday. On the 19th, there was the meeting here. I went to the meeting, to the open house, that is. It was 3 degrees, and there wasn't very much notice about it. I don't know whether what you're looking at now has revisions in it because of the comments that were made, or if it's the original one. It's a 187-page packet. I read through it once, but to expect and I don't know when the Planning Commission got it, but to expect you to vote on it with so little time seems to me absurd. You know that I've often spoken in favor of open government, transparent government. This just doesn't seem like it to me. To ask the citizens to comment on something in such a very short time with a 187-page packet just seems unreasonable. I just think it's not a good look. It's not good optics aside from anything else. But it also makes it very difficult for people to have any rational comments on it and to reach the broad audience that it needs to reach. Along those same lines, I do have a problem with the surveys that were done. If it was a source code, as I understand it, were posted in the parks, but that's a self-selected group. So the comments would be from that self-selected group. I don't have any problem with people using the parks commenting, but it leaves out a whole group of people that had no idea that their comments might be solicited. So I have a problem also. I'm very happy to have more tot lots. I'm not opposed. I don't even know if I'm opposed to anything in the document, really.
I can't imagine you would be, Fran. I really can't.
Possibly not.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter, because what does matter is that not just I, but that all our citizens have time to adequately look at it and see whether they do agree with it or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Fran. Anybody else who'd like to make a comment?
They have you sign in.
Good evening. Sandy Welsher, 8804 Foley Road,
Sandy, when you're
Caledonia.
done, would you mind signing the form?
Yes.
Thank you, Sandy. How
Um,
have you been, by the way?
I have been wonderful.
Great.
I'd like to see this get tabled for more consideration. This idea of putting stuff up at the parks to get people's ideas is wonderful, but you left out the whole entire horse community. There's no code for us to go at our trailheads to put in our comments. I didn't know about this until just the other day. I'd like to see the horse trails, the horse community be included in this a little bit more than what it is. The Village of Caledonia doesn't really offer anything to the horse people. It's all the Caledonia Conservancy. So I'd just like to, this is a horse community. People move here to be able to have horses. It would be nice if the village would help the Conservancy and all the other horse owners and land owners to keep that way of life up.
Okay. Was
Thank
there
you.
something specific in the plan that changed that you
No,
think
I just like to
reflects
see-
negatively on horse owners?
I just like to see the village, are the horses going to be allowed in some of these parks? You got the
Okay.
County Line New
All right.
Park. Are there trails going to be in there? Is the village going to do something to help the horse community
I see.
that
Okay.
way?
I'm with you now. Thank you,
Okay,
Sandy.
thank you.
Wendy, did you have something you'd like to say? Thank you, Sandy. And Wendy, when you're done, would you also sign the, thank you.
I also just found out about this like a day or four before the hearing.
Name and address, please.
Oh, sorry. Wendy McKelvey, 4825 Richmond Drive.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm 06, Caledonia 06. So now they do have the right village I live in, but they have the wrong zip code again.
We're working on it. We're still
Pretty
working on it.
annoying. All right. My comment again is the same. It is also, I think, I would like also to have this deferred so that people do have time to read it. I was very, very active in all of these plans when I was on the village board, and after that as well too. So I had really looked at them closely and had a lot of concern about it. So I haven't had time to read it either, and I would like to do that. I mean, I still have the old plans in my house. You know, I could take them out and compare if I want. You know, if I had time to do that. And I went to sewer pack meetings even about these issues along Root River and so on. I would like to have it deferred so that we could do it. And I think it's a mistake that there was mention that the bicycle trail that goes along closer over to the lake, they wanted to connect that to the Oak Leaf Trail. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling very well today. Okay, Oak Leaf Trail. But the Caledonia Conservancy has a whole trail system that's on that same old trail right-of-way, that does connect with it. And we do not, it's true, we do not allow bicycles simply because it's confusing to riders and to bicycle people. But there is a connection there. And that's not really mentioned. Nothing is made of that in this plan. And I think Conservancy spent considerable time and effort to get property and to maintain it. And it is for the general public, for walkers at least. And that needs to be attention given to that. Okay? So, but I really would like this held up so that we can have time to look at it.
So Wendy, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Several of you have now suggested holding this over.
Yep.
For how long?
As long as it takes us, I don't know, a month, 2 months, so that we have
Okay,
time to read
This is
it.
a plan that the Parks Committee's been working on for months.
I know, but we didn't know about that. I mean, these things only come up every 4 or 5 years, 10 years.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm sorry,
So
but you know,
if we deferred it for a month, would you be happy with that?
I'd like 2 months, okay?
2 months.
Oh.
Okay, I read that whole plan twice while I was in Mexico. Are you telling me it take you 2 months to read that again? Is that what you're
It
saying?
might. I mean, that's not the only thing I have to do in my life. And I want, you know.
Mr. President?
And I'm sure it isn't,
Are we going to engage with the
Hold on a
public
minute.
now?
Hold on a minute.
okay. Yeah, because you have to think about it too. And maybe even go out and look at some things. Or go back to the plan that I already have. And kind of look at it from, you know,
Okay.
well, is this a change? Is this not a change? And then what do I think about it? I mean, just reading it once doesn't necessarily,
All right.
I just need time to think about things. I think most people do. And maybe they need time among themselves to talk about it in their neighborhood or whatever.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for being here. Yeah, thank you very much, Wendy. Does anybody else like to make any public comment? Did Ron Bouchard want to say something?
Well, wouldn't he be after we
Yeah,
close
I
it?
can, Tom, if you'll allow me. Can people hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, can you hear me okay?
We're still in
Is your
public comment.
microphone
That's,
on?
he's going to make public comment.
I don't know.
I didn't think we could.
Is his microphone on?
Doesn't he?
He can comment during the time we take any
He
action.
wants to make a public comment, does he not?
Well, we
I-
don't get to.
Hold on a minute.
Do you want to make a comment now, Ron, or do you want to wait till we get in?
Sure, I may as well. If Tom's opening up the floor to have me make a comment.
Ron, for
I
public
can.
comment.
Pardon me?
Public comment.
But he's participating as a member of the commission.
He should wait.
Wait.
Tom, I would recommend that he wait, as this is a public
Yeah.
hearing for the public comment. He is a plan commissioner in the plan commissioner role. This isn't the public comment agenda item. This is at the
Oh,
actual
you're
public
right. He's on
hearing.
the planning. Okay.
Right.
So since he's on the plan commission, I would recommend that we close the hearing, and then at
All
that
right.
point, the plan commission can deliberate.
So noted. Thank you for saying that. All right. So we will, if nobody else has anything to say, we will close the public hearing and move on. So, Mr. Wagner, did you want to respond to any of the things we've heard so far or?
Have you officially closed the public hearing?
I just did, yes.
Okay. I just want, for minute purposes
It's
as well.
closed, yes, thank you.
At this point, I will answer any questions that the Plan Commission has regarding the feedback
Okay.
that the public hearing has happened. So hopefully you are taking notes on some of the comments that the public has engaged. And it's up to the Plan Commission to determine what comments should be addressed. And then other comments, were statements, not necessarily questions. So I will field questions from the Plan Commissioners regarding the proposed plan, or if you want me to go over any part of the plan, or if you would like the representative from Sewer Pack to come and answer any questions on particular sections.
Well, I
of the
think we'll
plan.
leave it open for either one of you to answer questions. Is
we-
that all right with you, sir? Miss,
But can we
Go.
comment outside of responding to the public hearing?
this is your chance. So
Well, I mean, because it's not on the agenda.
During the debate on any motion, we've always commented, so I
so
don't.
But there's nowhere on the.
I'm starting with
agenda.
Joe right now. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, I'm going to move that we table action on this item 5A until our next meeting of the Planning Commission.
I'll second.
And I'd like to speak on the motion.
Well, okay. Go ahead.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that once again, this is quite an undertaking. A lot of time went into it, a lot of thought went into it. Here I sit again, and I don't hear a single citizen out here saying, don't do this. They're saying, hold on. We need to know more. We want to find out more. There hasn't been enough visibility in the community as a whole. You can all shake your heads over there, but that's what these folks are saying. And that's what I hear, and that's what I'm responding to. Again, like Fran, I'm not opposed to any of this that I know of at this point. I think it is clearly a question of whether or not there's been enough time given for this community to respond as a whole. And I've got some concerns too, as well as some of the comments on the surveys. We know how old the groups of people were who responded. We know that they're projecting a 33% increase in population by 2050. But do you know how many people that is? How many people is that, Pete? Todd? It's just over 8,000 people compared to the 2024 population that was estimated at 24,000. In one of the earlier estimates of population increases for 2035, the increase was estimated to be up to 30,000. The community's aging. We're not, people are leaving, they're dying. Families aren't staying in the homes that their moms and dads raised them in. I think there's a lot of consideration that needs to be given here. I hear the community saying, and it's not just, I've received a number of calls about this, asking that we delay it so that folks can get their arms around what it is we're looking at exactly and what it means for generations to come, at least one more generation to come, in terms of what actions we might take on this. So I think it's important that we take action to at least put it off until next month and give everybody an opportunity. I've read through it twice, Tom. I wasn't in Mexico, but I wish I would have been down there with you. We could have done it over a tequila or two and probably had a lot more.
There was alcohol involved, I'm sorry.
And we'd have probably had a lot better understanding of a lot of this. So anyway,
So your motion is to lay it over for a month to the next planning commission?
yes.
And we have a second on that. Can I ask you to amend your motion to keep public comment open during that period?
Sure.
Can I speak and ask, make a statement quickly or?
Sure. Let me make the amendment first. Ron, okay? So,
I guess if I could
No,
interrupt.
well, wait a minute.
If the motion is to table, it's
wouldn't
not
it be on?
to have deliberation and commentary.
there's
So I
no
don't know what Ron's
deliberation on
going to
the
say,
motion to
but I
table.
just want to make sure that the scope of the discussion is on the motion to table and not to necessarily evaluate the
right.
plan, because the motion was made to table. So the motion is not to deliberate the contents of the plan now.
Right.
The motion is to deliberate on whether or not the table. So Joe, your commentary was the rationale to table.
Thank
I just
you.
want to, I just want to mention it,
We don't
as I
get to
know
talk.
other commissioners may want to comment, that
Yeah.
it's not to necessarily evaluate the plan, but is to come up with a rationale to support the motion that has been made and seconded.
I was just gonna say that we have to stick to the motion in our
So
discussion.
that,
Okay.
so if we go forward with this motion, we will have no comment by any other commissioner or citizen here on what we see right now, just so
You
you're
said-
clear on that.
Right, right. Now, Tom, isn't it a given that we would have public comments at the next, no?
No,
Okay,
But I'm-
so
that's what I'm
then
saying, let's leave
I
it
will
open.
amend my motion to include that public comments once again be allowed at the next meeting when this is,
no, well, from now to the next meeting,
from now till the next meeting. Keep it open, okay,
all right? Mr. Wagner?
even though you,
Just to allow staff to have time to compile
Right.
the comments, I would recommend that the deadline be at least the week before the meeting, so that allows staff to go through the comments that are provided. It can provide them to the committee. If we have it up to the day of the meeting, it makes it very difficult for us to give you commentary,
Got
especially
your
if
calendar there,
residents come.
Pete? You got your calendar? Give me a date.
It's March 31st is the next plan commission meeting. So that would make it, March 24th would give us a week's time in order for us to,
well, I'm agreeing with Tom that we keep it open until the next meeting. And that's what my amendment is,
So not 1 week before.
not 1 week before, so I need a second.
Mr.
We
President.
need a second on the motion amended.
So you would like to keep, so the motion is to keep the comment period open until, and through, up until we have the next plan commission meeting.
Right.
Correct.
What are the options of you guys tabling it because new comments came in day of? And I'm just looking for an option that we don't end up with this situation. We're adding 30 days for you guys to, and the general public to review this document. And if comments come in on that day, how are we going to judge those comments? I think that's where Pete was going with asking, because we won't have them in the packet. They'll be given to you day of, and that will cause a problem because it won't be, in the agendized packet on the website, which means the public hasn't been able to view them. And I only see that causing more problems in tabling this again, which I would prefer we don't do.
Well, but wait a minute, you're not even, you don't get to speak on the motion, Todd.
He's
Is-
not, he's not.
He's not.
I'm not,
Okay.
I'm asking a
All right.
question based on,
I
when
thought
you're
I
setting
just
a
heard him
deadline.
say he's against tabling it.
No, he did not
he
say
didn't
that.
Okay,
He's saying that he,
sorry.
so that staff has time to
No, I
respond, he
mean-
wants to end public comment a little bit earlier.
Can I have a question, ask a question about that? I'm still the new kid here.
In your microphone.
Oh. I wanted to ask a question about this public comment. I'm still kind of the new one here versus why we wanted a week before. If we do public comment, we did that today. Okay,
Not that kind
that's what I needed to know. Thank you.
Right, so then our comments wouldn't, that we would normally make like tonight as questioner, or the questions we might have, won't get heard until a month from now.
Right.
And that's the piece I don't think is necessarily good. If we have thoughts,
We have
but you
motion-
got, but
we
you
have
got the motion on,
floor,
but
so
you got the motion on the floor, and
We have
that's
a
why I
motion
was
on the
saying,
floor.
Joe, with your motion on the floor, we can't talk about anything that's
No.
in it now.
No, we can't.
Right.
You
End it for 10 minutes, talk about it, and
No,
then put it
no,
back
no,
up.
no, no, you can't.
can't do that once it's been motioned.
Okay, so a motion to bring this back up next month and to continue public comment for the whole month or for 3 weeks?
For the whole month.
For the whole month? Okay, that's the motion, and we have a second on that, is that correct?
Yeah?
All in favor, say aye.
All right?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. No.
You want it to
No.
go tonight?
We have,
I've got 3, I couldn't really hear.
I'm
So
sorry,
no.
do a roll call.
And don't forget Ron.
Ron,
What's Ron's vote?
All right. Weatherston,
no.
Kiriaki,
Yes.
Pierce,
Pierce.
Oh, yes, sorry.
You forgot her
Hints,
Oh.
Moore,
name. Nope.
Bachardy.
Yes.
May.
Okay.
May.
Amy?
And May, sorry.
Yes.
That's 4-3.
4-3 held over, right, for a month.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Moving along.
Wait. Yeah. For it to be held
Okay,
over.
we can talk later.
Okay,
Do you
thanks.
want to go through the rest of this?
New business, building site and operations plan review, review of building site and operations plan. 4-3.
4-3 to
Yeah,
table.
and you
4-3
can-
to table.
You can do that next month. while
Oh,
you're
it's tabled.
I'm sorry, I thought you could hear me, I'm sorry.
Mm.
Sure. The ayes were Kiriaki, Pierce, May, and Bachardy. The nays were Weatherspoon, Hints, and Moore. I'm sorry.
What's unclear?
So it's laid over till next month, Wendy. Come back next month.
Okay, I can repeat it for you if you'd like.
Yes, clear.
Okay. Okay, so the no's to not lay it over were Weatherspoon, Hints, and Moore. The ayes were Kiriaki, Pierce, May, and Bachardy.
Okay, moving on then. 6A, building site and operations plan review, review of building site and operations plan for the construction and utilization of a 32-acre private solar utility located at 7444 Highway V, submitted by Peter Murphy, applicant J&L Trading Investments. Can I have it quiet, please?
Hey.
How you doing tonight?
Good, how about you?
All right. Did you want to entertain us with what you're planning on doing? You sent us the longest thing that we attached to our minutes, so.
Ever?
No,
You broke
not
a
ever.
record? Okay,
You're not quite this bad.
okay.
Oh, water.
So name and address, please, and enlighten us.
Oh, sure. Nolan Stumpf, 10 North Livingston Street, Madison, Wisconsin, 53703. Can we get the presentation on this one? Thank you, Peter. No, it's okay. I guess I'll start with an intro. So I'm Nolan Stumpf. I work in project development and project management for One Energy Renewables. I'm here with Peter and Julie. We work in the Midwest office. The physical office is in Madison, but they live in Milwaukee. I live in Madison. We're here today to talk about the Root River Solar Project. Next slide, please. So a little bit about One Energy. We're an independent developer of community-scale energy projects. Like I said before, our Madison office develops, constructs, and operates projects throughout the Midwest. We're also a public benefit corporation, so that ingrained in our company bylaws is operating in a responsible, sustainable manner and pursuing public benefit along with normal business objectives. Next slide, please. So over the last 6 years, we've constructed 55 projects in the Midwest. The map on the left side of the screen shows the distribution of projects. You can see most of them are in Wisconsin, but some are in Minnesota, Iowa, and Illinois. Last year, we constructed 7 in Wisconsin, including 5 to 6 megawatt projects, which are about the size of this project, in We Energy's territory, located in Fond du Lac, Jefferson, Racine, and Walworth counties. So one of the most common questions we get asked is about why we chose the particular site. One of them, as you can kind of imagine, is being free of environmental constraints. So that includes floodplains, non-farmed wetlands, critical habitat for wildlife, things of that nature. We also look for relatively flat parcels of land. The other important aspect is existing electrical infrastructure. So that basically the three-phase lines that run along Highway Road V. We submit the location of the project to the utility, and they take a few months to study the interjection of power to the grid at that location. And depending on the cost needed to upgrade the system, the project we can either move forward with it, or sometimes that's the point in which we have to let a project go. But in this case, the upgrades are financially feasible, and so we're moving to the permitting stage, which is why we're here today. The most important piece is an interested landowner who's interested in leasing a parcel of land for 30 to 50 years, and we found that with JNS Real Estate, or Janie Warnchess. So some of the components of the Root River Solar Project, the steel racking, there are I-beams that are driven straight into the ground, about 10 feet or so. On top of that is a torque tube that allows the solar panels themselves to rotate east to west throughout the day and track the sun. The panels that we use are bifacial solar panels, so they look the same as they do on the front and back. The picture on the left there shows the back side of the panels, and that means that they can absorb sunlight from either way, and the light that refracts off of vegetation and snow increases the productivity of the whole project. The torque tube is about 6 feet tall, and the maximum height of the panels is about 8 feet. The perimeter fence is a agricultural style woven wire fence, similar to what you'd see outside of an orchard. That's also about 8 feet tall as well. Some of the electrical components there are, on the left are inverters that converts the DC electricity generated by the solar panels to AC electricity, which is what's usable by the grid and in homes. It's basically like a larger version of what is in like your laptop, or they're in cars and refrigerators as well. And then on the right is a transformer, which steps up the voltage of the project to match the voltage that already exists on the three-phase lines. And that's mounted on a skid and surrounded by aggregate, which is the only part, along with the access road, which is aggregate as well, that is not planted with permanent vegetation. Go to the next slide, please. So for this project, our plan is to do a native pollinator prairie seed mix. We have many projects that are planted with a pasture mix, where the vegetation is managed not by people, but by sheep, which we're really excited about. But again, for this project, the plan is the native pollinator seed mix. So we consider our approach to solar development low impact and dual use. Part of that is less grading on site and more steel. This site has some topography, but not as much as we have seen. So there's some grading that will be done, but we have a kind of what's called a pile reveal window, which means we spend more on steel and allow the existing topography of the land rather than grade everything completely flat. And that helps with keeping not only the existing hydrology, it also helps to return the site to pre-construction condition after the useful life of the project. So the native pollinator habitat is not only great for pollinators, but also other insects, birds, and small wildlife. The deep-rooted prairie flowers and grasses improve soil nutrients over time and increases water infiltration. That high-density, deep-rooted vegetation, that improves on-site water runoff and erosion control during and after construction. We pre-seed with a cover crop, but also the permanent vegetation. that increases organic soil matter and fertility over time, lets the soil rest for the life of the project. It also provides agricultural integration, which is why we love partnering with local farmers with sheep. So this is the site plan on the right. It's a 6 megawatt project. It's about fenced acre area is about 32 acres of the entire 101 roughly acre parcel. You can see 6.5 mile road to the north and County Road V to the east, and the gravel access road driving coming from County Road V heading west and then south and then into the site. There's also an access gate from the east frontage road on the east part of the site near the I don't know, it's like some kind of parking facility there. And then so the panel area is situated in the kind of back corner of this kind of oddly shaped parcel with vegetative screening along the southeast portion. Like I said before, connecting to the 3-phase distribution lines around County Road V. And then the area to the north of the project can continue to be farmed. So these projects, one of the reasons I love working on them is they create educational opportunities for students. So we plan to offer a panel donation program to the local school district, or offer a panel donation and monetary donation to the local school district as part of our panel donation program to allow them to install a solar array on one of their sites. So we hope to do that. Another part is that these projects create lots of really high-paying local jobs. The map on the bottom right shows the basically where all the contractors that worked on projects last year are from. So you can see the geographic range covers almost the entire state. We support solar workforce development with the Midwest Renewable Energy Association, and solar installers, one of the fastest growing jobs in the whole country. Again, my name's Nolan. I'm here with Julie and Peter. Our contact information is on the screen. We're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Nolan, I just wanted to let the whole commission know that you and I talked before the meeting, and you don't really have a firm contract with We at the moment, but this is the first step to getting that. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Did I say
correct.
that right?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, we can't make we don't have commercial certainty, can't sign any agreements.
All right.
Before we get
So
the
approval from
permit.
us and then our village board, then you go back to Wisconsin Electric, firm it up with them. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you, Nolan. Anyone else have any questions of Nolan? Yeah. Nance?
Somewhat simple ones, I think. One on your fencing, which looks fine, but I was just thinking if we're talking about out an environmental area that you want to keep the deer out of here, I take it?
Yeah, that's correct.
So what are we going to do with the turkeys? We have quite a turkey population out there.
Yeah.
Just-
Have we ever had a turkey on the site? Yeah, I don't think that they would cause too much trouble, really.
I'm just saying when we're looking at moving some of this, and you're out in our ag area kind of thing. So just a thought. The other thing, and I actually had this conversation a little bit with Pete earlier, and I noticed in your pictures showing the sheep grazing underneath, which I don't have an issue with. But interestingly, there is a listserv for agriculture for the state of Wisconsin that I'm on, and they recently had a comment about solar panels and sheep. It takes it down another step, and it's not that I'm advocating for it, I'm just going to share it. So this is exactly what was said. There's a need, and in my humble opinion, the writer, we're going to be in a more of a pickle on the processing side for lamb soon. Sheep solar farms are popping up, offering us more and more lamb, yet no meat infrastructure for processing. We import a lot currently, so we have room for more domestic processing. However, the infrastructure is not there yet, from my observations. Furthermore, years ago, one of the USDA's largest lamb processors sold out and closed here. So she said, I think sheep lamb is a wise and more sustainable meat, and yet the U.S. hasn't had the palate for it or the infrastructure. So it's a downstream from what you're saying, that the sheep are good in here, but maybe we can take a longer look at the long plan and just see if it fits anywhere.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I'm not a farmer, but I've been actually hearing that a lot about, well, if you're going to do sheep on all these sites, which we don't do them on all the sites.
Right.
Yeah, I hope that, I guess the flip side of, glass half full is that maybe there's room for agricultural industry to grow.
Right, and
because of
that's
it.
really
So,
what I think this person is saying, and kind of what my thought is like, as we look at it, it's got a good idea, you got good comments. What's the other piece that we can potentially look at or just be aware of? Maybe there's a need that fits in and fits with you.
yeah, sure.
Who had their hand up?
Thank you.
Joe?
Mr. President, I'm going to move that the Plan Commission recommends to the village board that the building site and operation plan for the constructions of a plus 32-acre solar power generation facility located at 7444 County Trunk Highway V be approved for the following reason. One, the proposed use plan is allowed by underlining zoning through the building site and operation plan review process.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Yes?
Yeah, just briefly, ultimately, I'll support this. I think long-term, would you necessarily want to, solar farm that close to the interstate? But I know there's not a lot of utilities out there, so I think for the foreseeable future, this makes a lot of sense and is productive use of the land until such a time utilities go out there. So I'll be supporting this.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Is Ron still on the phone?
No.
B, building site and operations plan review of a building site and operations plan for the construction and utilization of a 13,542 square foot building addition to Gifford School with parking lot and school interior modifications located at 8332 Northwestern Avenue, submitted by Jeffrey Breitelman, applicant, Racine Unified School District. Is Jeffrey here? Nope. Are you Jeffrey? Did you want to make comment? Other than it's a great plan and that we should do it, or what? All right, does anybody on the committee have any questions?
Nope.
No. No? All no's? Joe, no? Okay.
No.
Can't see all your heads down there, so.
Oh.
Thank you for being here. Can I get a motion then?
I don't have the, go ahead.
Okay. I don't
One
have
of you.
a screen.
Any one of you.
Mr. President, I'll move that the Plan Commission recommends to the village board that the site plan for construction of a 13,542 square foot school addition to Gifford School with parking lot and school interior modifications at 8332 Northwestern Avenue be approved. Conditions, with the conditions in Exhibit A for the following reasons. One, the proposed use is allowed under the underlying zoning through the building site and operation plan review process. And two, the proposed use is compatible with the existing use of a school on the property.
I have a second.
Yep, I'll second.
Second.
Okay, we're motion and second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Old business temporary use review. Consider request to utilize a 20 by 20 canopy tent, 8 by 20 cargo container for the sale of fireworks from June 7th through July 7th, located at 7952 State Highway 41, submitted by Jacob Zamora. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, applicant.
Yeah.
Zamora. All right, is Jacob here? Hi, Jacob.
Hello.
Tell us about this.
Nothing. We did it last year. We're just looking to set up another. I know this was a little incorrect. We were trying to do a little bigger this year if we can, a 20 by 40.
I do have 20 by 40 on
Yeah, it says 20 by 20.
Yeah, mine is
there.
showing
It does
20 by
on the
20.
agenda?
Yep.
I
20
have
by 40, okay.
40, so it was in the packet correctly, but.
All right, but, so are you aware that we don't allow fireworks?
So from what I've been looking at on the permit, and we also got approved this year by someone else that we're trying for the first time. and you guys have the exact identical ordinances. On the ordinance, from what I've been reading, it says that you guys do allow it, or like the state of Wisconsin, you guys follow the state of Wisconsin laws. They do allow it as long as you obtain a permit from the village commission.
I would disagree with that, but Peter, are you familiar with that chapter?
I'm not completely well versed in that chapter, but that chapter is the firework, sales of fireworks are limited to what is listed in the ordinance. I believe last year, the police department stopped by your stand and let you know that certain firework products were not allowed. I believe certain like 4-inch shells, 6-inch shells, certain products were not permitted to be sold in the village of Caledonia. And there was a oversight through your permitting process through the clerk's office, I believe, that, correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, but because I don't know if you don't think you were here, were you?
I was.
Oh, was?
That was actually the very first thing I did, like my first week here.
Oh, and so there was an error with saying you could sell certain fireworks. There, it's explicitly stated in our ordinance what you're allowed to sell in the village, and we want to make sure that you're aware of that, because if the fire department, or not the fire department, but the police department comes, or we get a complaint and they find that you have these particular product, we're going to be revoking your temporary use, and you'll be closed down. And then in future, we more than likely would deny your temporary use request based on the violations of our firework sale ordinance.
Okay. So the police did stop by. They stopped by because someone tried breaking into our container. They weren't initially stopping by from what we were selling, but they did say that there were some issues with the ordinance. But because we got accepted for the permit, that there's nothing they could do about it. On the ordinance, you guys do have a list of what you cannot be selling unless you do have a permit. Nothing we sell falls under that list. It gives you a list of what is considered a firework. As a firework, it says anything that anything that's explosive, emits spark, or does combustion is considered a firework, and has a list of what's not considered a firework. And that's the only thing I'm a little confused about the ordinance. So I'm not 200% sure about it. We would like to be set up again as we did last year. We had no issues. A lot of locals loved it. A lot of them said they would be visiting us next year and asked us if we'd be here next year. So that's just up to you guys on the ordinance and if you guys approve it.
We're looking it up right now.
Okay. I want to make sure. I've been talking to the police trying to get the correct ordinance, because I don't even know if I'm looking at the right one, but from what's posted on your guys' website.
Right. So the application itself does not say specifically what items you may or may not sell.
Yes, it uses the term firework.
Right, it
permit.
just defines
Yeah.
the term firework. But as far as Caledonia ordinances on what types of fireworks are allowed to be sold and what isn't, that's something that we would need to.
Okay, because you guys
look
do have a
at
list
more.
as well that shows what's identified. I believe what's not identified as a firework and what is.
Right, what isn't a firework and what is.
Yeah.
But also there is an ordinance stating what types of
I
fireworks
see.
are allowed and which types are not allowed.
Okay.
That's outside of my licensing ordinance, so that's something that the police must have been referencing.
Okay.
I would have to coordinate with the police to be sure that we are in compliance on your
Okay.
application.
So,
Yeah.
am I understanding that you're asking, would we approve this conditional use as long as he stays within, understanding, he has to stay within the two ordinances. One, what is a firework, what is not a firework, and what are the permitted specific fireworks? Is that what
You
we're?
guys have a different list I can look at that shows what?
I have to find out,
Okay.
talk to the police department.
If
see what
in
they're
section
referring.
Title 7, there is a section sub D sub 1 that talks about no person may sell or possess with the intent such items as they have subsections A5, A6, A9, and A14 without first obtaining conditional use permit through the zoning code. So this is what those are. You are allowed, with a permit, you're allowed to sell caps, a toy snake that contains no mercury, a sparkler or wood stick not to exceed 36 inches in length, and a cone fountain not to exceed 75 grams in total weight, designed to sit on the ground and emit only sparks and smoke. All the rest of the ones that define a firework are prohibited to be sold in the village of Caledonia.
Okay, see, that's what I was confused about, is because that ordinance, from what I understood, it says not defined as a firework, and that's under that section. As the
It says in this section, fireworks means anything manufactured, processed, packaged, and it goes on that has subcategories 1 through 14 of examples of fireworks. And then further down in sub D, it actually says, with the permit from the village, you can sell these 4 types of fireworks. And that's A5, A6, A9, and A14 in the code. All the other examples are prohibited. So that's why the police department was notified of, no, actually, I think it was the neighboring fireworks stand across the freeway.
I'm sure.
That was the one who pointed out the other products that you had for sale. And so that, I just want to let you know that that's the case, that you're going to be limited. And then if it's worthwhile for you to proceed with this, the recommendation is to approve the temporary use permit as long as you follow Title
Yeah.
7 of the code. If we find continued violations, to be upfront with you, staff is more likely going to mention the violations of the ordinance of Title 7 and might likely next year recommend not to approve the temporary use based on the noncompliance with Title 7. So that's what the questions were at last month's meeting,
Okay, yeah.
and you weren't here to give your explanation of
Yeah.
what you plan on selling. And so the Plan Commission, not to put words in the Plan Commission's mouth, they were concerned about approving a use that implies that you could go ahead and do what you did the year before, which really wasn't the case. So they wanted to have that conversation with you, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, speaking on your behalf, but that was the intent, and that's why you're back here tonight. So if you understand, you have to comply with the Title 7 rules and regulations. I think the Plan Commission wants to let you know that that's important, that you need to comply.
We're looking at it, and essentially nothing that explodes is allowed. So no rockets, no firecrackers.
It's not allowed.
Not allowed.
Okay.
Nancy, do you want the
Well,
floor?
I just wondering, do we want to make a motion to approve, subject obviously to our ordinances, and then you have to go back and decide if it's worthwhile to keep going? Is that kind of where we're at, Pete?
Right.
Okay.
This is like the first step. If he doesn't
Right.
have a site, then he's not going to proceed with the clerk's office to get a license a permit to sell fireworks. So this is step 1 of 2 steps before he can operate. So he's asking for permission to have this site. He included where he's going to have the cargo container, the tents, what type of signs that he'll have to get a temporary sign permit for before he can put out there. But those are he wants to show you exactly what is that, how he's going to set up. And outside of the fireworks that were not permitted per ordinance that he wasn't aware of, this year he is aware of what is limited. And so that's why staff has a suggestion motion approving the temporary use based on the fact that, with the understanding he's going to comply with our firework permit regulations.
I did notice you guys did have a fireworks stand, like I believe 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Was that the same issue as we're having now?
I don't know.
On behalf of that particular vendor, he was here for several years when I started here. So from like 2019 to 2022, he had the shop over at the Mobile across the street, and he had also one at Milliger's. And then he stopped selling it. I don't know if it was the restrictions that did
Was
it.
the restriction something that changed during those
No,
years?
the restrictions were the same. I think he just had a different clientele, so he moved on. And so you're the only game in town.
I'm trying, but.
Right, so you need a motion?
Please.
Right, I'll make a motion that we approve the temporary use review to utilize a 20 by 40 canopy tent and an 8 by 20 cargo container for the sale of fireworks from June 7th through July 7th, located at 7952 US Highway 41, with the understanding that it would be subject to all ordinances and restrictions within the village.
Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion?
So are these dimensions correct then in here?
20 by 40, yeah.
The tent should be 20 by 40, not 20 by 20. That was an error on my part, so.
Okay,
The tent isn't.
The motion includes the correction of 20 by 40.
Right.
If,
She read 20 by 20, right?
No, she read 20 by 40.
So I had 20 by 40. Estimated that we would be selling all types of consumer products if we were just to stick to what is legal in the ordinance. Am I allowed to change it to a 20 by 20 later on, or is that something that has to be done now?
No, we just go with the bigger one and then.
Okay.
We'll approve for the bigger, then you can go small.
Okay.
So
Put a pup tent up if you want.
So we have a
motion and a second. Is
Right.
any further discussion? Seeing none, I hope. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you
showing up.
sitting through.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.